YouTube, welcome back to another video. Obviously, a little bit of a different surrounding as I'm not in the UK, I'm in my new abode over in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I gotta be honest, this is my second time filming this video because the last time I filmed it, didn't want to upload. I was waiting for ages. The internet I was using was pretty awful. In fact, it was borderline non-existent. However, I've sorted a new router, thankfully, so I can now film and touch wood, no issues. So I'm going to crack on with this video about December. Now, we are sort of in the midway point of December, but there's still a lot of this that you can apply to ensure that you remain on track and you start 2026 on the front foot. Okay, so when we look at December and why most people fall off, it's normally down to the fact that just psychologically they use it as a time period of, I'm just going to write December off, start again in January. Okay, December is just another month. Okay, granted, there are things going on, there are more social events, there are, busier time periods, maybe you're winding down for work, everything else. But for people who obviously hopefully watch this, they want to see it as an opportunity to separate themselves and make sure that they're building on habits, keeping that momentum, and they can carry that forward into 2026. So what you want to be thinking about is using this time period of December now. Granted, it might not be perfect because there might be more meals out, there might be a few drinks, this, that, and the other. But as long as you can stick to the basics with your training, your nutrition in the week, and a few other bits, you're going to be fine. Okay, you don't need to have that all-in mindset of, I'm sacking off the whole of December. So what do most people get wrong? The biggest mistake that makes that ruins the new year is, like I say, they stop in December and go straight back in January. Okay, and that's killed a lot of momentum because if you don't train for, say, 4 weeks through December, 3 or 4 weeks, you're going to have lost strength, you're going to have lost your routine, you're going to have lost that momentum and just the will to want to train. So what you want to be thinking about is not using this festive period as an excuse to just not bother training, eat what you want, go to bed when you want, because ultimately your progress isn't being paused, it's actually going backwards. It's not a case of, right, I'll press pause on everything for 4 weeks and I'll come back and pick it up and press play. Those 4 weeks where you're not training right, you're not eating correctly, etc., that's going to have a detrimental effect to your progress. So what, as high performers, do we want to be doing instead? Now, we want to think about dropping in volume, not in intensity, because ultimately what we want to be doing is thinking, right, if we normally do 4 sessions a week, is that going to be sustainable with work, Christmas dues, wrapping up the year at work, more family occasions, taking your children out this in the evenings, everything, whatever? Probably not. So you could go from 4 sessions to 3 or 3 sessions to 2. Okay, and I would be going with a full body approach, as we know that's going to allow you to hit the big bang for buck movements. It's going to allow you to maintain muscle mass and strength and enough frequency, as I've said, to keep the muscle that you've built over the years. Focusing on your key lifts, some movement quality, some mobility, maybe a little bit of cardiovascular work as well. Excellent. Okay, that's what you want to be thinking about. What can I do that's going to get me the most bang for buck and the best return on investment when it comes to my training? Okay, because understand that training needs to be ticked off, and it might well be a month of maintenance, but it keeps that routine, it keeps that momentum, keeps the level of skill to perform an exercise as well, rather than restarting in the new year. So what you want to be thinking about over the next couple of weeks and months, or next couple of weeks for December, you want to have something that is set you can follow. So you can go in the gym, these are the exercises that you need to do. Because ultimately, if you've got structure within your week, within your days, you're going to be far more likely to succeed rather than just sort of going off the cuff and using willpower. Okay, because without your structure, it's very easy to think, what am I going to train today? I'm not too sure. I might be a bit busy. I'll go tomorrow. Never happens. Tomorrow's session, that is. So you want a plan that's going to reduce decision fatigue, doesn't add to it. It's going to give you the best movements that you're going to get the best return on your time. Okay, 45 minutes, nice and simple. You want to be thinking about how can you stay in the game with the habits you've built and the momentum that you've got rather than fall off it. Okay, so that's something to consider. Now, as I've mentioned before, through December, your training, I would be having it structured like 3 full body sessions, or maybe 2 full body sessions, or an upper lower, depending on how many times you want to train. Okay. If your weeks are quite busy, you can utilize a weekend, maybe a Saturday morning. You go to the gym nice and early before the family wake up, there's one of your sessions. You only need to do another 1 or 2 in the week, which you should be able to commit to. Okay. You could then obviously add in some conditioning work as well, maybe towards the end of the session, just to keep that box ticked as well. But ultimately, 3 quality sessions are going to be more than enough. Okay, focusing on your compound lifts is the main majority of that workout. Squats, hinges, pushes, pulls, that sort of stuff. Then some accessory work, which is more maybe hypertrophy based or working on sort of areas that you want to improve upon. But again, keeping that effective, and then keeping your steps nice and high, some mobility work, etc., and a few bits of conditioning if you need to. That is going to be more than enough for you to succeed and stay on the right track during December. Okay, you want to also think about just stacking small wins. Okay, it might well be that you just think, right, another session ticked off, perfect. Start the week strong. Maybe Monday you get your gym session done regardless, because you can carry that momentum throughout the week. Okay, keep that consistency throughout the December period when things may be a little bit busier. All right, because every session that you complete is almost reinforcing that. Yeah, I am a man of my word. I can do what I need to be saying, or a woman of my word, or whatever you identify as. But rather than skipping sessions, then psychologically you think, oh, I'm breaking the promise to myself. So if you can make sure you win the morning, or you win the day, win the week, you can carry that throughout the month of December, which is obviously going to allow you to stay on track. Okay, discipline isn't perfection, it's intentional consistency. Okay, because there are going to be times where you need to rely on that discipline, even if things aren't quote unquote normal or a perfect time. Now, if you skip December, this is going to put you further back. Almost, you're going to be a month behind. Your January will be like your December, if that makes sense. So don't be thinking taking time off, because it's going to cost you more than you may think. Not financially, but physically, mentally, etc., and moving towards the goal. So if you take 4 weeks off training, you're going to, like I say, lose strength. You're going to lose neural efficiency and movement patterns, how to execute movements at a high level. And this is why I've said, even if you just keep the main movements in your current program, even if you just look to maintain the weights, at least you're still getting used to performing that exercise with the right intensity and a sufficient amount of load. Because regression in strength would occur if you took 4 weeks off, 3 weeks off, even 2 weeks off. Also confidence as well, overall sharpness, just the flow of the sessions. They will feel very tricky if you go into January trying to restart, because the restart is 10 times harder than just using this period now to keep the boxes ticked and keep things moving. Okay, that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be going to the gym, doing what you need to do, getting out and cracking on. Okay, now, nice and simple. If you are not sure on what you need to do in order to set up your training, maybe bank calories before a Christmas work party or a meal out with family, then all you need to do, comment or DM me the word on Instagram, navigate, or you can head to the link in the description below, pop in your email address, and I'll send over my free Navigating December guide. Okay, so this guide basically is going to include the training program for you to follow. That's super simple and effective, yet something you need to do maybe 2-3 times a week, bit of conditioning, bulk of the lifts at the start, some mindset things, also how to recover, especially if you're having a few drinks right next day. Hydration is going to be key, light movement is going to be key, getting back on track with nutrition is going to be key. So it has everything put in a guide that you can utilize to make sure you have something to follow throughout December and you know what you need to be doing. So like I say, if you do wish to download the guide, either head to the link in the description, pop in your email address and I'll send it over, or comment below the word navigate, or you can DM me on Instagram where I can also send the guide across. But apart from that, hopefully we've enjoyed this video. Hopefully we can learn a few things about how to sort of navigate through December. And obviously if you want to know more, then obviously follow those steps and I can send the guide across. But if we have enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.